Growing up, I had a very different idea and opinion on education and what it meant to me. To start off, when I was a child, I thought that going to school meant you were a big kid and that it was just an opportunity to make friends, socialize, and play. Now, my understanding of education and its values are entirely different. What is my understanding of well-being? To me, there are many different aspects that define the term. However, based on this course and the discussions we've had until now, my understanding of well-being of a child is that through successful education, they should be able to interact, communicate, and make connections with the world around them, while being able to contribute their own values. This relates to an online article titled A Brief Introduction to Holistic Education written by Ron Miller, in which recognized individuals like Maria Montessori, Rudolf Steiner, and many others suggested that education should be understood as the art of cultivating the moral, emotional, physical, physiological, and spiritual dimensions of the developing child. Through further discussion in the course and reading of Exploring Well-Being in the Early Years written by Julia Manning Morton, I believe that the many factors that contribute to the overall well-being of the child includes their emotional and physical wellness, their relationships, their morals and spirituality, and the environment that. Looking back at how I viewed education in my early childhood years, I definitely did not understand why or how education was going to contribute to my overall well-being other than the relationship and interaction aspect. First, let's look at my childhood education experience. When I was young, I had a very outgoing and energetic personality. That being said, it was very hard for me to adapt to the curriculum and understand the basic rules of kindergarten and early grades of elementary school. The part I had the most trouble with was controlling my behavior and knowing when it was time to settle down and give respect to the educators. Relating my behavior to the chart we discussed, which was unpacking our behavioral assumptions, the educators often perceived me as a child who lacked discipline, which was not entirely true when I was at home. The difference in environment, culturally and physically, really changed the way I acted because I always enjoyed that positive and exciting new interaction I had with others at school, and I was always very curious about the new environment around me, which got me thinking that I really enjoyed learning in an environment similar to the Waldorf philosophy. Through the comparisons of the 3 different early childhood education philosophies that we discussed in this course, which are the Montessori, Waldorf, and Reggio Emilia approach, I find that the play-based approach in the Waldorf philosophy is what contributed the most to my early childhood well-being in public school. Through creative learning like singing, crafts, outdoor time, and story time, I gained valuable knowledge and became much more confident and comfortable in the environment I was in. This also helped me gain individualism at a young age, which shapes me into the person I am today. Moving on to who I am today and my current well-being, I have to say that the education I got through junior high and my employment are the real major contributors to my overall well-being. In these years, I grew not only physically but also intellectually. Starting with junior high, these were the years I really began to learn different subjects like health and nutrition, physical education, science, literature, and math, which are all important in the sense of helping me grow intellectually. But these were also the years where I learned that different teachers had different educational approaches method-wise. To me, there were 2 different kinds of teachers, the ones that cared and the ones that didn't. What I mean is, the ones that cared actually connected with the students and made the environment suitable and enjoyable for everybody. These teachers gave a considerable amount of projects and works, but the work was enjoyable nonetheless. The teachers that I described as the ones who didn't care are the ones that gave work and projects according to specific guidelines and topics, and did not try to make what we had to learn interesting. They didn't try to connect with the students or understand what may engage us into learning. My experience with the teachers who cared relates to the concepts from the holistic infographic given in the course, in that the approach and philosophy of holistic educators is to resist the pressure of standardizing education because every learner is different and unique. As a student who had just began to grasp the idea of learning for my own benefit and learning to become a better person so I can make a contribution to the world in the future, my main goal was to just learn as much as I can through different educational approaches and make the experience a positive one. My optimistic outlook changed in high school when I learned that teaching is not as black and white as I thought it was in junior high. In my 10th grade, I was offered a job to work at Kumon as a math and reading assistant instructor. My responsibilities included teaching and interacting with children from preschool to high school.
Created using Powtoon.